Manchester United announced transformation plan, more austerity at Manchester United, more cuts coming to the loyal workforce, sir. The club came out pretty strong, Berrada saying we're losing too much money. And in order to get the club on the right footing, including dealing with PSR and FFP, there's going to be more cuts at Manchester United, almost 150 to 200 redundancies made. It's never anything anyone wants to hear, but like we covered in our analysis of the Q2 financials, United do have much more staff than the other EPL teams, and we are losing quite a bit of cash right now. So the club is tough times for the club, tough times for the staff. It's never easy to go through this process, but United needs to get leaner because we need a new stadium, and we're losing money at the moment.
And we're in a cash crisis. At the end of the moment, it's about surviving. And right now, these are cuts that you need to do in order to survive, right? Like we can't guarantee European football year in, year out. And at this moment, we got everything to do to just like keep the club afloat. And at the end of the day, Ineos don't have a lot of levers other than making layoffs. And it sucks. It sucks for the individuals and the humans that are actually affected by it. But given what's gone on and everything else beyond cuts, this is always coming. Like they did big wave, I think the end of last year, and then another big chunk right now. We'll get into the numbers in a second. But you also never want to do layoffs like in multiple tranches. Ideally, you always cut deep enough once. That seldom happens. They've gone the double cut method. Given that they only did 200, 250, and like you said, we're still overstaffed given kind of the averages elsewhere in the league. This was always coming. You hate to see it, but like, hopefully this is the last time because there's no certainty that this will be the last round of cuts because they're getting another one, after we miss Europe by crashing out of the FA Cup and the Europa League.
Yeah, and a quote from the statement from the club: "Big changes are coming to Manchester United. The club has just announced a major transformation plan aimed at ending 5 years of financial losses." And at the end of the day, we did see the start of the cuts that they made in the prior year. 250 jobs were cut last year across all staff. And in the Q2 financials, the club was actually break even in Q2 for the first time in a long time. So while the club is losing money year over year, there are specific quarters where we're actually making money. So that's not entirely a true statement. And oh, by the way, if you do technically have a loss, you can make cash flow, which is much more important to Berrada, Ineos, and the Glazers. So kind of I'm not buying the crocodile tears Berrada put out for the we've lost money the past 5 consecutive years from an operating profit perspective. Yes. From a cash flow perspective, no. And that's actually more important. So he is kind of misleading to cut through it. He also goes on to say, quote, "Our two main priorities as a club are delivering success on the pitch for our fans and improving our facilities. We cannot invest it in these objectives if we continue to lose money." And so at the levels that the club is losing money and the fact that FFP is an issue and PSR is a problem, what's best for Manchester United is to get the staff down, the costs down, streamline it, and then start making profits. And then we can invest in the team, invest in the facilities, and hopefully make smart investments. Because I would say that, buying Anthony, overpaying for Højlund, paying a lot of money for Onana. These are really what got us here. Look, the Glazers screwed us over the last decade, really saddling the club with debt. We spent $1 billion in debt, but realistically, what has destroyed this club is the net spend that we have. Is we're not able to sell players. We can't buy players at all. Like the decisions we make are just atrocious. That is really the Glazers are to blame for putting Ed Woodward and co. In those positions, but Ineos has also bottled about $200 million too. So if you spent better and wiser, this would help the cause as well.
No, at the end of the day, of course, it's the debt that was put onto the club with the leverage buyout in the first place by the Glazers. But the reason that United is in such a terrible position right now, at the end of February 2025, is because we have handled recruitment so poorly over the last 12 years. I mean, the amount of transfers that we've gotten right while spending over $1 billion of our own cash, right? Not cash that was put by the Glazers, that was just made by the club because of success coming out of the Fergie years. We have a handful of genuine successes. We have so many L's. Our loss rate was so high that that's not sustainable. I mean, the amount of money we spent, but at the same time, we have all this debt and we have the whole squad to rebuild. So you just can't keep doing that. And I think we've run out of luck. And at this point, United's preparing to miss Europe, right? And they're making these cuts in advance so that, like,
Yes.
if and when we do miss Europe, because we most likely will miss Europe, we won't go BK. We won't be in a really bad position around cash flow. I think they're shoring up house now in advance of some even more lean years coming ahead.
We're not quite preparing for the championship, but he goes on to say, quote, "At the end of this process, we'll have a more lean, agile, and financially sustainable football club. It's short-term pain for long-term gain." The problem here is the fact that we're so bad on the pitch, and these decisions are coming, like you said, in two tranches, right? Preparing for not making Europe, preparing for the tough times ahead. And since we're kind of bouncing off the bottom in relation to PSR, and there's like limited money to spend, this summer is huge. We have a promising manager who needs to build this team. What are they going to be able to do there? I just think it's going to be this is a critical turnaround point in the turnaround. If we weren't doing so badly on the field, it might be different, right? The fact that we're doing so poorly on the field, and Ineos has kind of bottled a bunch of big decisions. He's complaining they're losing money. You sacked Erik ten Hag, you paid him $12 million. You sacked Ashworth, you paid $4 million in total to get him and fire him. So you're losing money hand over fist in those transactions, right? So they do have a little bit of blame here, and I just feel like the solution just can't always be more austerity, because then ultimately this team is going to be in the championship and the stadium is going to be falling apart, and we're not going to be able to pay for a new stadium. So it's not like this solves all of our problems. This is a really difficult time for the club on and off the pitch. I do like how they actually made a statement. I don't think we got like this nice of a statement last time they did it. So maybe this shows they are learning. The Q2 financials also, I thought were a good sign. Check out our video on the Q2 financial analysis there. So things off the pitch could be heading in the right direction if we can get recruitment right this summer, but that's a big, big if.
And that's it. That's something we have to fix because it's been so bad for so long. Ineos have to do better. I mean, I know $200 million down the drain, but like I do like the nature of the signings, even though they're backing the other manager better in terms of like the price we're paying for the Lenny Euros of the world. That being said, it's like we don't have the money that we did. We don't have another $1 billion just ready to rock to get half right and half wrong, which would be a good success rate. And United was nowhere near a 50% success rate with our transfers over the last decade. So they're going to have to start getting things right. And I fear for how bad it could get because, this season we'll survive. We're not going to get relegated. But if and when we miss Europe, it's like, what money is there going to be to spend to rebuild the squad? Because that's what's concerning. It's not that like the club is broke. It's like the EPL is so fucking competitive and our squad is a mess and needs to be basically rebuilt. And we don't have $1 billion to rebuild it. So it's like, there's just water leaking out of every hole imaginable. And then the injury, it's just like, it doesn't seem like it's stopping. It's accelerating, and that's concerning.
And we got rats in the stadium, sir. We got rats.
The urinals are overflowing. The
Rats.
roof is leaking, bro. The food is raw. Sorry.
So what's next here? We're going to see how this transformation plan plays out in the coming months. For me, the key to watch for Ineos will be balancing the financial discipline with smart investments on the football side, because we got to be smart in recruitment and who we sell and making good deals, right? I think that's really what we need instead of the $85 million to Anthony. And look, let us know. Do you think this will actually help United be better in the future, or is this just more sawing off the arm from Ineos and we're headed down the drain? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next Manchester United video.